There was a time when OnePlus as a company was pretty much nothing, and over the past couple of years, what it's managed to do is nothing short of spectacular. But ever since the OnePlus 5, I feel like the company is sort of losing the plot. The OnePlus 5 resembled a lot like the iPhone of the time, as well as the Oppo R11s. In fact, it was a very much copy of the R11s, including the processing power, the battery size, etc., etc. So when we talk here about the OnePlus 6 and its leaks, we kind of don't really expect something revolutionary from the company. Sure, it's going to be a great Android phone, but it's going to be combining a lot from the Oppo R15 that is about to launch, as well as Apple's iPhone X. So without further ado, let's jump into what we can expect about the OnePlus 6. First and foremost is the display, and it's no surprise that the OnePlus 6 is going to have a notch just like the iPhone X. I'm quite worried for these Android manufacturers who are adopting the notch, the same ones who actually mocked the notch just last year. And I'm glad Samsung with their Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus haven't adopted the notch, because it kind of differentiates themselves from the market, and a phone without the notch is just as good in my opinion. As far as display resolution goes, we're still expecting a full HD Plus display according to what has been leaked in terms of specifications. So it's the same display that we found on the OnePlus 5T, and no sort of display resolution bump as far as I know. I would be glad to see OnePlus actually adopt a 2K panel, as well as things like the IP68 water and dust protection ratings that we find on many flagship phones nowadays, and stereo speakers, because that's something that they've neglected for quite some time. And of course, keep that headphone jack, because people still want to use it. But as much as I doubt OnePlus in terms of specification and raw processing power, they're gonna make no sacrifices whatsoever. So we can expect the Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 processor, octa-core at 2.7 GHz and up to 8 GB of RAM. And I think this is how they're gonna do it. So a 6 GB variant, as well as 128 GB of storage for the initial variant, and an 8 GB variant of RAM with 256 GB as an upgrade over the standard or initial variant. That's how they're gonna kind of differentiate the two. And I'm gonna get to pricing later on in this video, but with talks about a 256 GB variant, I think this is how they're gonna do it, because they're not gonna have a micro SD card anytime soon on their devices as far as I know. Moving over to software, there are no surprises in the fact that it's gonna run Oxygen OS on top of the latest Android, either Android Oreo or Android P, if it's managed to come out by then. So it's going to be latest once again, but we are hearing about a new gesture-based navigation system, and I wonder who did that. Yeah, I mean, it's cool and all, but when Apple did it with iOS, they could do that because they own iOS. But with OnePlus trying to differentiate themselves using this software-based navigation system, it's kind of diverting from what Android aims to be, a very clean operating system. And I don't know if it's going to affect performance in any way, but if there's a skin on top of Android, it does take a toll on the phone from the past couple of years that we've seen other manufacturers do it. And I'm not sure if OnePlus will do it spot on straight away. And again, Android is really easy to kind of customize. So I'm sure OnePlus will have their navigation-based UI, and if people want to toggle off or on between that, I'm sure they're going to give them an option to do that. So at the end of the day, they could either use it as a traditional Android phone or a one with kind of these navigation gestures, kind of mimicking the iPhone X experience, which again, I don't know why people are aiming for. And then come the cameras. A triple camera is not something we will find on the OnePlus 6 just yet, because Apple hasn't done it. But we are expecting a very similar setup to what we found on the OnePlus 5T. It's going to be a dual camera setup, 16 and 20 megapixels with an f1.7 aperture, and a upgraded 20 megapixel camera on the front for selfies with an f2.0 aperture, at least from the leaks that we've seen so far. I would be really impressed if they went for a variable aperture camera like what Samsung did, but again, they don't really need that for this budget point. I'm hoping this budget point, so we're going to be expecting what we found on the OnePlus 5T with some enhancements here and there to make pictures look overall just a little bit better. And before we make our final judgment on pricing, let me talk to you about the battery on the OnePlus 6. It's going to be a 3450 milliamp hour cell, and I'm guaranteeing you this is the case because the Oppo R15 has the same battery, and I'm sure that OnePlus 6 is going to have the exact same battery too. Of course, it's going to be USB-C instead of the micro USB you find on the Oppo R15. And I don't know if they're going to be upgrading dash charging, because over the past couple of years charging has progressed, so I would like to see an upgraded variant to that, but if it blows up phones, stay away from it. So finally, let's conclude the video with pricing. Over the past couple of years, we've seen flagship phones raise the bar, not in a good way, for prices. Overall, flagships in the past couple of years have costed between around $650 to maximum of $800, whereas nowadays we're seeing flagships cross the $900 mark or even up to the $1,000 mark. So very naturally, OnePlus would like to increase their prices too. And if we look at how they've increased their prices over the past couple of years, from the OnePlus 1 all the way to the OnePlus 5T, we see sort of this trend. And if we follow this trend, I would like to guess that the new price for the OnePlus 6 would be around $549 for the base variant, and maybe $579 for the upgraded variant with the upgraded RAM and the storage power. Again, this is just a guess on previous trends and whatever we've seen so far of the OnePlus 6, and I would be really surprised if OnePlus manages to keep the OnePlus 6 the same price as the OnePlus 5T, but fingers crossed they managed to do that. But that is all for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the phone, about the video. Do you have anything to add? Have I missed anything? All of that in the comments below. And if you're new around here, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more videos in the future. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.